Welcome to Saving Us, where we discuss relationships in marriage, family, and beyond. Relationships are hard work and should be a priority. These discussions are here to help you navigate the waters of insecurity and frustration and hopefully guide you to a place of peaceful fulfillment in your own relationships. Welcome to Saving Us, a platform where we discuss relationships in marriage, family, and more. The theme of our first show is Getting to Know Us. I'm your host, Detra Carter, and this is my husband,
Michael Carter.
And we're here for Saving Us. We have been married for 22 years. We have 5 kids from 31 to 16 years old, and we are pastors, and we've been pastoring for 11 years. We wanted to start this podcast as a way for us to transition through our marriage with grace, to get to know each other more, to learn more about each other, and to offer some support and help for people who may be going through the same things that we're going through. We just want to encourage you to send in questions or remarks or anything that can help us help each other through marriage and family relationships and other relationships as well. You have something you want to add, Pastor?
No, other than just know that we are not licensed counselors. We are pastors. Yeah. So, these are our opinions and our own life experiences. So take it as such.
That's right. For sure. Like I said, we wanted to start this podcast or this show as a way, it was my idea for us to get closer together. In our relationship, we have struggled a lot with communication. We're a blended family, so we've had those struggles. Just raising kids in general is hard. So
real hard. We've
had to do that. We've had some financial ups and downs like most everybody. So all of those different transitions are just things we had to overcome and are still overcoming. And this next transition is for us to go from a house full of kids to empty nesting. So in about a year from now, we plan to be empty nesters. Yeah. And it's a little scary for me, I must say, a little scary because I don't know what's going to happen. I won't have anybody here to tell what to do and
yes, you will.
have to look after and have to keep up with grades and did you go to work and
maybe
what's your
grades.
Schedule and come back by this time and all of that kind
How's
of
that
stuff.
different than what you do with me? But anyway, okay.
I do not tell him what to do. I don't tell you what to do.
She doesn't tell me what to do.
No, I don't.
Oh, Lordy.
All right. So as we go through this, Saving Us isn't only for marriage relationships. It's also to help those who are not married or any of us to live authentically, to live the life that we want to live. We may not be living the life that we dreamed about as younger people, but if you are a younger person, this is to help you navigate the life you want to live, and not to make decisions out of insecurity or fear, but make decisions with consciousness. Know the decisions you're making and make the choices you want to make. And know this, you'll never know the end before you make a decision. So don't try to do it trying to plan and think about every little detail because you'll never know everything, but you can make decisions with confidence. So that's another reason why we started this platform, to help others make decisions with confidence and not out of fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to know that you're living your best life now. And that may not always look like what you think it looks like. Just because it doesn't look like you're living your best life, you still can live your best life now, even with the ups and downs. So.
You really can. Sometimes when you get in situations you never thought you would be in, and you think that, am I still here? Am I still the person I wanted to be? Am I still the person I thought I'd be? Sometimes you're a better version of who you thought you'd be. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're not, but it's never too late to try again, to start over, to try to improve yourself in areas that need to be improved. to try to ask those around you, what do you see in me? Where do I need to improve? Or what are some good things about me that you see? So it's really good to just encourage each other, you know, and say, I see this in you, and I think you'd be good at this. And, you know, it helps us. It helps us along the way. So very good, very good. We, Pastor and I, one of our goals is to be better friends in our marriage. And so I think that's one thing that kind of, I shouldn't say worries me, but I'm a little bit concerned about is our friendship level, especially after all of our children are gone out of the house. What does friendship look like for us? I'm not a person who has a lot of friends anyway, really. So it's really hard for me because I don't have a lot of experience in that area. So, for me, friendship looks like hanging out, enjoying the same types of things. Even if you don't really enjoy what a friend is doing, enjoying it enough to enjoy watching the other person enjoy it. You know, you just, I mean, even if you're just there as a tag along, it's okay because the other person is really enjoying it and you like them enough to say, oh, I'm glad for you, you know, that kind of thing. So what does that look like for you? I am an introvert. He is not. He's a social butterfly. So we're opposite in that way. So what does friendship look like for you?
Well, I guess, you know, friendship in marriage maybe even a little different than, you know, friends or what we call best friends. You know, your marriage partner, spouse is supposed to be your best friend. And so I think that one of the things that would come to me is that friendship in marriage means that you're not afraid to argue or disagree without the fear of splitting up. Or really in any relationship, you know, best friends should have that same type of relationship where you're not afraid that if we argue or disagree with each other, then that's it. You know, we're never going to see each other again, or, you know, so that type of thing I think is one thing. And then also, if it doesn't work out, which I would never, you know, advocate divorce in marriage or anything like that, you know, other than, you know, those circumstances, that would warrant that. But I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is if your relationship doesn't work out, to me, if you were really friends, that would supersede everything else. You know, you could still be friends. And so I think that's a hard thing. I think that's not likely, and it's to many unrealistic, but that's what I think. You know, I think if you get to that level of friendship, you know, then that bond would supersede most other things, you know, that you endure. Again, now I'm not talking about abuse and all
or
that
betrayal,
like you know, cheating and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about normal stuff that you argue about, you know, or whatever it may be.
Somebody getting on your nerves.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
because of their personality quirks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I have not really had a friendship where I really fought with somebody. And, you know, had a real big disagreement or had a big falling out, and then we had to come back together and be friends.
Oh, you just said you just left the fun. You said forget it.
My friend, the friends I've had, we got on each other's nerve a little bit, but, you know, I never had a big falling out.
Right.
And then had to come back together. And I can't really say I've really seen that in the relationships in my life, like older people in my family and stuff. People I saw, they fell out. It was over.
That was it.
If I saw them actually argue or whatever,
right,
it was over. Now those who stayed together, maybe I didn't see, you know, what was behind closed doors.
Right.
But so I maybe that's one reason why that kind of scares me, because I've never had to do that. I've never had a big.
You've never been that place.
Yeah, I've never had that big falling out and been like, okay, you're still my friend.
Right.
You know, I still like you.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I've maybe gone through that once, at least once, and and able to persevere. It's hard. It's a hard thing.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing. Not in marriage, obviously, but so yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But friendship is important.
So what is so if your friend, what would be your breaking point though? Like for you to say you're not my friend anymore and not feel like you've been walked over, or mistreated or whatever.
Well, see, that's the thing for me. I think I guess there's different levels of friendship.
Okay.
There's a friend. I know there's acquaintances, and then, there's friends, then there's best friends, and, whatever levels you have in between. But I think for me, especially as it relates to marriage relationship or even best friends, besties, I think that even betrayal sometimes is hard to forgive. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're best friends, sometimes you find ways to get over that. I don't know what would be a breaking point. I just know. I think that to quote the great Muhammad Ali, that great prophet. No, he was not a prophet, but he might have been. I don't know. But he once said, I'm misquoting him, but he once said something to the effect that friendship is something that is not taught in school. You can't learn it anywhere, and it's the hardest thing in the world to describe. But if you don't know what friendship is, then you haven't learned anything. So I think, to me, so that's just saying that it's hard to describe, but it's just something that it's like, well, how do I know you're my best friend, or he's my best friend, or she's your best friend? I think it's just something that you're just going to have to know in your heart. You go through things together. Because I say that because I think that some people, in terms of friends, when you just talk about friends, there are friends that will maybe betray you, or you go through something, you argue about something or whatever, and you're like, okay, well, forget it. I don't need to be friends with you,
right.
Whatever. There's other people that will do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. The exact same thing. It won't be any different. They will eat whatever the betrayal is, whatever the argument is, or whatever level that is. They do the exact same thing, and you'll put up with it. You'll get mad, you'll argue, but then later, you'll forgive and all that. Right. So what is it about that person? And they may not even do anything different.
Right. So it's basically the connection you have with the person, maybe because of experiences that you've had together. They just have bonded you together as friends.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. And you certainly go through, a lot in marriage, but it's also, I think, hard to, I think it's one of those things, like so many other things, that if you take your eye off of it, it, it's something you have to work at. It's something you can't just say, well, we'll just naturally be friends. I mean, some people can, but I think in a lot of cases, you have to work. Or at least remember, you have to purposefully.
You have to be friends on purpose.
Friends on purpose. That's good. There you go.
You have to be friends on purpose.
Friends on purpose.
So maybe that's why I don't have any friends. Because I'm not friend on purpose. Okay, I'm going to work on that, guys. That's one thing I have to work on. So for us, So I don't think we were friends before we got married. Our marriage story is that if I'm remembering, he has a better memory than I do about timelines. So if I'm remembering right, I think we went out it was a February or March, right? Like when we first went out. And then the next, it was October that same year, I think, when we got engaged. And then we were married the next April. So it was only about a year and 2 months, maybe. Right, the whole courtship, the whole situation was about a year and 2 months. Now we had met maybe 6 months before that, so we'll say 18 months altogether from meeting till marriage. Yes, I agree. Yeah, that sounds right. You have a good memory. All right, all right. So I don't think we were friends. Not really. You don't think we were friends? No. Yeah, it's probably true. I would. Yeah. When we got married, I didn't know enough about you to be. I don't think to be considered a friend of yours and you of mine. So if you're in that situation, so how even at the beginning of our marriage, I remember you saying somebody else was your soulmate.
I did.
Oh, yes. And so that person was your best friend or soulmate at that time. So how...
It was not a woman.
That's true. So how do you become friends? You know, how do you do that? Especially if you have kids right away, or you like we were, we had kids already and then had more kids right away.
Right, that is true.
So and that's a distraction, you know, to building a friendship, because you have to, you know,
right,
your kids
yeah,
are focused.
you
You're focused on the kids.
Right.
So
I agree.
how do you build a friendship and not just a partnership, not just a co-parenting, I should say.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough thing. I mean,
it's hard,
that's where the work comes in, I think. And I think it's more than just doing things. I mean, you're going to have to do things to go out, spend time together, have somebody watch the kids, and you know, it could be. I think it's a combination of a whole lot of things. I think one thing is what we could have done a lot better is, you know, friends. You know, we're different people, obviously. So there's a lot of things you like to do that's different than I watch different shows on TV, even, or different movies or activities, whatever, bowling or whatever it may be.
Right.
So I think to be intentional, you have to then do something the other person wants to do.
Right.
Both ways, you know, and not complain about it, which is, you know,
not sulk.
Right. Which is hard for me. If I do something I don't want to do, I'm like,
you don't want to do it.
But oh Lord, I don't feel like sewing or whatever it is. Shopping. She doesn't know sew, but shopping is horrible. But anyway, yes, I could have done that a lot better. I could have shopped a lot better, but I didn't. So yes, I think that's one of the things.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, and to build friendships around your marriage, I think, is important too. So like have other couple friends that you can grow together with and do marriage with. You know, because if you get married around the same time, you're probably going through the same sorts of things at the same time, because, you know, birds of a feather usually flock together. So
right.
I think that's important too. But what if you are... Oh, we're already 17 minutes already.
It's all right.
I'm sorry. But what if you are... like if you're opposite? Like I consider us pretty opposite, but I think that's common though in most marriages. The couples are usually opposite in some ways.
In some way, yeah.
So the type of people that I gravitate toward, especially at the beginning of our marriage, were very different from the types of people you wanted to be around.
Right.
So that was hard for us to find friends that we both liked. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
that's tough. Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that?
Yeah. I just think that's where the sacrifice, because you talk about sacrifice, you talk about that. But it's not really sacrifice if you're doing something that you kind of halfway want to do. Like you want to go bowling, and bowling's not my favorite, but I can put up with it. But that's not really a sacrifice. It's sacrifice when it's like that. Like you have a friend that you really, really like,
right? And
I don't particularly care for. So look, suck it up, sacrifice.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and you got to be mature. You got to not pout.
Right.
You got to not. You know.
Yes.
Act like you don't want them there when people are there.
Right.
That kind of thing. Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
we've been through it all. All right. So try to be friends. You know, it's our goal. It's my goal. It's my goal by the time our youngest leaves by the time our youngest leaves the house, that we are better friends. Yeah. So, and with that, like I said, we're trying to go through this transition of being a house
empty
full
nesters
into being empty nesters. So what do you expect, what are your thoughts about being an empty nester?
Yeah, I honestly don't know what to expect. I know what I guess what I would like to see is off of that first subject we just talked about, is to become better friends. I would like to see us do more things together, that we weren't able to do and like it.
Right.
That's because we do stuff together. I mean, we've gone, obviously go to the movies, we go out to dinner, but do things and like it. Both of us like it at the same time.
Right. Yes.
That's what I'm hopeful. And also, even if we're not doing anything, I mean, there's a lot of things she mentioned. There's a lot of things that are different about us. Like I said, a lot of couples have shows that they watch together or whatever it may be. And so, there's a lot of that's really different with us. So I'm hoping we just find things that we like to do.
Yeah, that we like to do together, enjoy together. I think one thing that was hard for us, and I think too, maybe because we didn't know each other that well, when we would go on vacations,
vacations were hard.
They were
I don't
hard.
know why.
You would go to vacation and be stressed out. It's like it was not fun or relaxing. I know I was always ready to come home. Like, it's enough with just being with you. I'm ready to go home.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I think another thing that is helpful too would be for us to have friends away from each other. So for the things you like to do, have a friend and go do that stuff. You can just have yourself a good time. And then I can find friends to do, some things that I like to do.
Right.
And that way, you don't have to feel pressure about enjoying something you really don't like that much.
Right. So find some things, though, that we would like to do together, even if it's just a couple things. Yeah. And we could always do those, but then the other things don't feel like we have to.
You have to do them, right?
Right.
I think.
And leave that part out of your life.
Right.
Stuff that you like to do. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I think this next season of being an empty nester, what it does is it reminds me of that month or two where we were childless. It really was just a month or two, and I remember us sitting in the house.
You sit up looking.
Yeah, like trying to eat dinner at the table, and it was just awkward. It was just the two of us, and it was like we didn't know each other, like we were on a blind date or something. Like, okay, what to do now? It was terrible. So that's what I don't want. I know that's what I don't want.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I think we've had times, over the years. I think that's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, because because you get older. I know for women, you like, look, I've lived long enough, and this is what it's gonna be, and I'm about to do my thing over this side of the house, and you can do your thing over there. Praise the Lord. That's me anyway. I'm like, look, this is what it is. But if it can be better, I want it to be better.
Yeah.
But that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
So,
to keep my sanity, praise the Lord. This is what's going to be.
Yeah. So. Well, we'll be, and we're moving in. And so we're still, as you see, we're still getting to know each other after 22 years, And so, I think then the other thing for me is that I think that it's good to know. One of the things that I didn't think about, I think I knew, but I didn't think about when we were first married, is that other people go through the same thing. Yeah. Like, you have periods where you don't talk or, or just awkward or whatever it may be. There's, you're not the only couple in the world that is going through that. Right. And so I think that's a big lesson for me. And I don't know if that was that way for you. I don't know if you looked at other couples. I mean, it's not good to compare. It's good to want to be better, to look at maybe another couple and say we want to be better. Mm-hmm. But it's not good to compare yourself to say they have everything because you don't know what's going on. Right. You don't know people's lives. I have to honestly say I don't remember going through that too much. Only maybe financially, because we were didn't have any money in the beginning, but but not relationship wise. I don't remember thinking about that or going through that. Maybe I'm too self-centered, but I was focused on us. Oh my goodness! Yeah, you're too much.
But I think it is good to know, though, that you're not the only one going through situations. And that's true with everything in life. Because my mother used to always say, there's nothing new under the sun. Which is true. Yep. There's nothing new under the sun. People are just people. And we all just go through the same types of things, you know. True. So that's it. Yeah.
First episode. All right,
that's it. And that is our take on saving us. Yeah. If you enjoyed what you heard and you want to save the relationships in your life, please click the subscribe button.
Yes.
And share this podcast with a friend.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.